So Roma knew about slaves, and he actually had more slaves than anybody else on PBI ever had. Roma had about a dozen slaves here, and the slaves were from Benin, Africa. And Roma knew that the slaves from Benin made really good slaves because a lot of them were already born into slavery, and they were big, strong, healthy people. So at one point, I think he traded a ship for Benin slaves. And so he was here with his daughter, and one of the slave girls got pregnant, and she died in childbirth. And instead of selling the baby off in slavery, Roma had a lawyer friend of his write up papers and adopt the baby, and have the baby adopted and baptized in Quebec City. And with the conditions that if these folks couldn't look after her, that she was to be returned to Roma's daughter. So the assumption, when I was researching this, I was like, this man didn't sell his child off into slavery. And he didn't, so it was good, because I was a little worried about that when I was first doing the research. I was like, what? And then it turned out that Roma had her looked after very well, so Roma. Well, Roma came to Roma Jean Pierre in 1732 to settle at Roma, a lot of work to do. From 32 to 49, brought 12 slaves from Benin to live and work the settlement, black men and women. A young slave girl was pregnant, the father was unknown. The mother died in childbirth, was the child his own? Baby Marie, she was not sold, kept in slavery, baptized in Quebec like a Jewish family. Roma, 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 Jean Pierre, Roma, Roma. Donated to a merchant friend, much more than a slave. Legal papers drawn up as Roma's property. In 45 there was a war between England and France. Roma fled back to Quebec while he had a chance. Roma, 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 Jean Pierre, Roma, 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 Jean Pierre. Pick it again, Martin. Was St. John in 1732. Settled at Roma, a lot of work to do. From 32 to 49, brought 12 slaves from Benin to live and work the settlement, black men and women. a second here and introduce the band members here. These guys have been just great to work with, and I appreciate having them around a lot. On my far right over here is, on keyboards, Mr. Spencer Soladuga. Next to Spencer here on lead guitar is Michael Peters. Next to Michael, somebody who used to teach me guitar lessons back in grade 7, who's a wonderful musician in her own right, Miss Bonnie LeClaire. And hidden right behind me here is a gentleman I've toured, and pretty wildly or widely with, Mr. Reg Ballard, wonderful drummer, Reg. We've got stories about touring in Switzerland that we're not allowed to tell you. And over here, I called in some of my band members decided they didn't want to be vaccinated, so they can't play anywhere. They're done. So I phoned these guys up and said, guys, I need you down here. So these gentlemen drove down here from Montreal and just learned all this stuff here in the last week. Speedy Johnson right here on bass. And then the guy on the far left, we've done gigs together off and on, all across, since the 80s actually. Although he says you can't remember those gigs, but Mr. Kevin Labchuk, for example.